The misinterpretation that we are going to be looking at is, will I fail if I don't plan or if I don't have goals? And that is the question. You've probably heard the phrase or the quote that if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So here we are on our journey, always trying to have a plan, and you through many teachings I've heard that you want to have a 6-month plan or a 1-week plan or 12-month plan, 3 years plans. People have got plans even when they've passed on and they're no longer part of this world, and leaving a legacy or something behind. And I get that. I get it. I get the idea of leaving a legacy and planning for that. However, is that true? Is that statement true, that if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail? I say it's not. I challenge it. I really do, because myself, I've been in business for many years, well in excess of 20 years. I got to say, I haven't always been successful, especially the first 3 years of business. I was actually on the verge of bankruptcy when I was a kid, kicking off. A young adult, I should say, not a kid. However, I've had great success as well. And when I say great success, it's been, I have an amazing lifestyle, and I'm not on the Forbes 500 or whatever. Nor do I intend to be, or is it my desire? It's to be able to, for me, my decisions have always been made around being able to live this. Live this meaning the lifestyle that I want to live, and being able to be the person that I want to be. And I got to say, being in business for so long, I have never had a business plan. So, that's a interesting observation and interesting reflection for me to look back on. So today, the misinterpretation that we are going to be looking at is, will I fail if I don't plan or if I don't have goals? And that is the question. And that is the misinterpretation, is that you will fail if you don't have your goals. You will fail if you don't plan. I don't think that's so true. And this is what I want to talk to you about today. And I'm not saying, there is some genuine lazy people out there, and they're like, oh, great, I like this podcast because I've never wanted to plan. I never wanted to have a goal, and I don't have any direction, and I don't even know where I'm going in my life. And they want to stay that way. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong necessarily, but I'm just saying don't use what I'm saying to feed your lazy mind, okay? Because, what I'm going to share with you is how I've never planned. What I'm going to share with you is how I don't have goals, but I have accomplished a lot of things, and I'm willing to work. Don't get me wrong. So don't take this. This part here is just for the person who's thinking, and they're just lazy, and they're just talking to themselves. I just want to do whatever I want, whenever I want. I just want to be able to just sit on the beach and do nothing. This is not your message. This is not what I'm talking to you about. You may need to go and have a goal and a plan and work your ass off for all your life. I mean, it's funny though. It's interesting. I say that I choose lifestyle over being in the Forbes 500 or whatever. I choose lifestyle over status. That's what I'm trying to say. For me, I reflect on that because it wasn't, and I haven't always been like that. I've always, as a young adult, I've been a young entrepreneur, and I would pursue status and credibility and success, and the greater wealth, if you like. I would pursue that, and I just noticed that in pursuing that, I would be working my ass off. And I would be living very imbalanced. A lot of entrepreneurs talk about that, less sleep is better. Really? I just thought, having a good balanced sleep is good. 8 hours sleep, 8 hours work, and 8 hours play, or spending with your family and doing the things that you like socially. Like there's 24 hours in a day. Wouldn't it make sense to split it evenly? So it's an interesting observation that I made when I was on that pursuit for status and credibility and a great financial platform. What I realized is that here I am working my ass off so that one day I can live this lifestyle that I would see in my life, in my eyes, in my mind, that I would enjoy. But what would happen is that once I would reach a financial platform, I would realize that I would require a greater financial platform to make it more stable. So then I would be pursuing the next platform. And when I arrived at that next platform, whether, even with greater status and credibility, that next financial stability really required the next level of financial stability in order to ensure that it is more stable. So then I would get to that next financial platform of stability, and then I would realize, well, what if this would happen and this happened? So then I needed the next. You get where I'm going, right? The point is that throughout my status, throughout my success, throughout the credibility that I was building, I wasn't able to live, the lifestyle that I wanted to live. And if I did, it was very, very momentarily because I had to get busy, building the next platform. So that's what made me realize that, it's about living it now. It's about choosing to live the lifestyle that you want to live now. And some people go, but I can't. Oh, but you can. There is just small things. Sure, you got to work and you got to run a business. I get it, right? But if you take your focus off this next platform that you need to build and bring it into the process and bring it into appreciating what you have right now and experiencing, that lifestyle that is at your feet right now. And people might think to themselves, but I don't have that lifestyle. Oh, but you do, right? It's just what happens is that when you have any opportunity in the present moment to stop and be present, to stop and smell the flowers, to stop and take a breath, what you're doing, you're too busy thinking about the next platform. So you don't actually get to experience what you have right now. People are always looking at, rather than appreciating what they have, they're looking at what they need to have in order to one day appreciate it. So what I'm trying to say to you here, not to digress too much, is that I realized that I could be working my ass off so I can one day live that, or I could be living that now. And not that I wouldn't be working my ass off, I still work hard, but it was more important for me to live this now. Anyway, I think I have digressed a little bit, so let's get back into this point. My point is that personally, I've had no goals. And I continue to not have goals or plans. I appreciate what I have right now, and at the same time, I have accomplished a lot of things. Today, I am a speaker and coach, which I've been doing for many years. I don't suck at it. I don't have a plan of where it's going next. I just feel what I want to do now. Like right now, I'm delivering this podcast. That's what I feel to do. So what I've done is I brought the team together, and we've all met because my team is from different parts of the world, between two different countries, and we all met in Thailand. We've hired a big villa, and we thought, let's have a holiday together. And at the same time, I'm going to film these podcasts. Now, it's about, my attention is the delivery of this podcast, not what's going to happen with them. Now, surely they're going to be put on a podcast, they're going to be put out there somewhere, but my attention is in what's happening right now, not what's going to happen with the outcome and results of this podcast. So personally, I look at this in my life and I've accomplished so much, but the thing is, I haven't planned any of that. I never planned to become a commercial pilot, for example. I never planned to buy an aviation company. It wasn't part of the plan, right? All I did was go, hey, I love flying, and then I would do what's next in front of me, right? If I could see all that I had to do, it could have really scared me, because there could be that lazy part of me that would have gone, oh, I don't know if I'm willing to do that. But I didn't, because I didn't see the mountain of what has to happen, because I didn't plan for that. So if I'm just in the moment, living it every day in the moment, and I'm still committed, don't get me wrong, I'm committed to what I'm doing in the next moment, I found that to be far more effortless. The times in my, let's say, in my aviation career where it became difficult was, hey, I decided to get my commercial pilot license. Again, it wasn't part of a plan. It was a plan that unfolded because I ended up buying an aviation company, and I was like, well, wouldn't it be a good idea if I got my commercial pilot license since I've bought an aviation company? I had the experience. I had to just do 7 exams, so I thought, I'm going to do these 7 exams. That was like, if you like, a plan to get to do those 7 exams. If you like, that was a goal to do those 7 exams. That was the most difficult part in my journey in the last 5 years, because I had to focus on these are the things, these are the tasks that I need to do in order to get there. Within that 5 years, that was the only time I actually did that. That's where it became effortful for me. It was just like, study, next one, study, then okay, I've got 1 down, 6 to go, 2 down, 5 to go. It was a lot of work. So my point is, yes, I haven't had a plan. Yes, I haven't had a goal, but I have accomplished so much. And if I tried to plan this 5 years ago, I don't think I could have planned it any better. So I'll give you another example. I'll give you another story of, in my speaking career. I remember being part of an event where there was a lot of entrepreneurs at this event, and I was one of many speakers at this event. And many of the speakers were talking about that, you've got to have a plan and you've got to be clear about your goals. And I was one of the second last speaker, or maybe the second last speaker of this event. And I'm there over days listening to this content and listening to people, talking about, hey, you need to have a plan, you need to have a goal, and it was generally around that topic. And I'm like, wow, well, this is going to be interesting what I'm going to talk about. So when I got up and it was time for me to speak, I asked the audience a question, and there was 400 or 500 people in this audience, and I said to them, who's ever here accomplished something that was never a goal? Who's ever here, experienced a plan unfold that was never their plan, but they found that, and this thing that you accomplished, or this plan that unfolded, you loved it. You realized, oh wow, this is huge. Who's ever here accomplished a goal that they've never set as a goal? I'm telling you, almost every single person put their hand up. So I was just like, so what do you make of that? You didn't have a plan to accomplish that. It was never even a goal, because you didn't even think about that as a possibility of something that you would enjoy or you would like, yet it came into your life without it being part of your goal setting, without even making a plan for it, and you were pretty pleased, I'm assuming. You need to contemplate that. There is a very large list of people where they have accomplished something in their life, and great things, and it was never on their radar. I mean, people I find, who are really enjoying and doing what they do, and I say, well, when did you decide to do this? And they kind of go, well, I didn't. I kind of fell into it, and I love it. I just found myself doing it. So, where does that leave you? Having that realization, does it mean you plan or you don't? Well, here's the thing. For me, let's get clear. I plan when it comes to systems and things that are formed. I mean, I fly an aircraft, for example. All right, I'm operating systems, a fuel system, maybe a navigation, that's required. So there is a plan that goes into that. But I'm operating a machine. Machines need plans. Machines need systems. Ideas that have been formulated already need systems to duplicate that. Yes, that's where a plan is required. Yes, that's when you got to be clear in the direction that you're going. And even so, if I make a flight plan, there is a possibility that flight plan will change based on the weather and what's doing. I can forecast things. Right? We can forecast the weather and forecast the winds, and we can forecast our speeds, and we can forecast our fuel burn, but it may vary a little bit, okay? And in that scenario, there is importance for me to have that plan, right? There is an importance for me to have a clear direction and clear goal that I am intending to fly here, and this time I'll arrive at that time, okay? But that's a machine. What I'm talking about is matters of the heart. You can't plan love. You can't Sure, you might have a goal to fall in love, but you can't plan that this is how I'm going to do it. Love, as you've heard me say many times, is something that finds you. It's not something that you find, right? All you're doing is being open to the possibilities. And that's the biggest thing I get from not having to plan or have any goals, is because sometimes a goal and a plan limits me. Because my thinking, no matter what, we as a human being, we don't use all our thinking capacity, is limited. And no matter how much of your thinking capacity you think you use, it's still limited as a human being. But when I can remove my thinking out of that scenario and be in the moment and live for the moment and show up in the moment, I'm still committed. There is a greater part of myself that I use that has an infinite capacity. There is things that I didn't even realize I love until it comes into my life. There is people in my life that I didn't realize I love until they came into my life. You know, it's these are things, matters of the heart. You can't plan that. You can't plan creativity. If you're an artist and you're looking to paint something, yes, you can plan once you've got the sense of creativity. Once the source of creativity has come to you, then you go, okay, I plan to do this for the next 2 days. I plan to do this for the next 3 days. And you might have some kind of structure. And even that, you know, an artist will know it's got to be pretty loose, because, you know, how many times does a plan go to plan anyway? That's a real question you want to ask yourself here. So the essence of the spark of creativity, the moment of love, you can't. The idea, if you're brainstorming and having, how many times you sit around a boardroom or a mentoring group of some sort, and you're brainstorming an idea, maybe with your colleagues, and you got the whiteboard out there and everyone's coming up with the ideas. When was the best idea ever landed? I'll tell you, for me personally, the best ideas come for me after I've left that boardroom and I'm riding my bicycle or I'm in the shower. Well, a moment of not even thinking about it necessarily, but I'm doing something else. I'm being in the moment. I'm not trying to look for the idea or solution, and then the idea and solution rises up from within me, just like a bubble does from deep within the ocean. It just rises up to the surface and it goes pop. It goes pop into my mind. I'm like, oh, what a good idea. What a great solution. What a great product. You see, you can't plan that. You can't have a goal setting around that. Okay, so to be clear, you know, once an idea is formed, you could then probably give that some guidelines. And I don't even like to call that a plan or guide or a goal. It's a very loose guideline. Like, for example, I'm here in Thailand. We're doing this podcast. We have you could say, oh, you have a goal to do 6. We were looking to do 6 episodes a day. Okay, it's very loose. You know, the subjects that I want to cover right now with you guys, it's actually diminished a little bit, because it's like, oh, we had like 24, now it's down to 20. Well, we're going to be doing less than 6 a day. I don't then force and go, no, we said we're going to do 6 a day. We've got to find 6. Hey, I could have come here and we only did 3 podcasts. That's what it will be. There's a power just having this net set out in the direction that I'm going, but it's not concrete. Okay, it's just it's like you're throwing a fishing net into the ocean, and it captures what it captures with the direction that you're going. So the net for me is always loose. But the point is, that spark of creativity, that moment of love, that moment of possibility, that moment of solution, you can't plan that even if you tried, because your brain capacity is limited. What you need to do is get your brain out of the way, your thinking out of the way. You know, I always say this, I ask myself a question. Like, if I'm looking for something, you know, I'm looking for a moment of creativity, a solution, or even a moment of reflection and pondering, I ask myself a question. But I don't look for the answer from the place I asked myself the question from, because I didn't know the answer. All I do is I let go and let the answer be realized wherever it's realized. It could be in a moment later. It could be moments later. So I ask myself the question, but I don't look for the answer from the place that I ask myself the question from. Okay, the answer comes from a different place. I use my thinking to pose the question, but I don't use my thinking to look for the solution or for the answer to my question. Here's the thing, the answer to your question, you already know. All you're doing is posing the question, throwing the nets into the ocean, and letting that little bubble rise from deep within the ocean, and it goes pop, and you don't even know where it comes from. I mean, think about it. Anyone who's ever into solutions and possibilities and great ideas and great creativity, where the hell did those ideas come from? Where did that source of content or possibility or inspiration come from? It came from, you can't explain it. I mean, sure, there's a part of you that takes credit for it and goes, oh, well, I came up with it. Did you? I mean, it's like a bubble that rose from deep within the ocean, and as the bubble rises to the surface of the ocean, it just goes pop. That's the same experience. It goes pop into your mind. And you're like, wow, what a great, I mean, if you even were alert or aware of that process, you realize you didn't come up with it. It came to you. It came through you. But you didn't come up with it with the question, posing the question and going, what solution do we have here? What idea am I looking for here? And then you didn't actually look for the answer in that same place that you asked the question from. So to wrap this podcast up of, will I fail if I don't plan or if I don't have goals? Well, no, you won't. In fact, your greatest solutions and possibilities and your greatest accomplishments, your greatest realizations have always come from when you have let go of the plan and the goal. Okay? How many times did the plan not go to plan, and then you kind of loosened your grip a bit? You kind of got yourself out of the way, and then you just find it go bang, bang, bang. So, my friends, there's a difference between making a plan and a plan unfolding through you. Okay? Don't confuse what I'm saying. I came to Thailand, I'm here on this trip. I made a plan, I scheduled a flight. Okay? That's just day-to-day stuff. But your greatest inspiration, your greatest sense of creativity, the greatest possibilities that you're looking for, they ain't coming from your thinking. Your thinking is just posing the question. Ask smart and intelligent questions. Don't look for the answer from that place that you asked the question from, because you don't have the answer there. That's why you asked the question, because you didn't know the answer. Now here's the thing, the answer, the sense of possibilities, that sense of creativity is already there, but you need to let go of trying to find the answer from where you asked the question from. You just pose the question, but then you gotta let go. You gotta go, and what do you let go do? Just be in the moment. Could come tomorrow, could come a moment later, but what I can promise you is that the answer that you're looking for, you wouldn't know what the question is unless you already knew what the answer is. You wouldn't even know how to pose the question unless you knew what the answer was. So what I'm trying to say to you, there is a part of you that has already realized, or already knows that answer before you even ask the question. But what you got to do is pose the question and let go of trying to find the answer from the same place you asked the question from. And all you got to do is pose the question. That's our podcast for today. I hope there's a lot there to ponder and think about. See you next time.